So this is a Maytag 10-year limited warranty Bravos XL Steam, model number MVW, I should brought my glasses, maybe a B8550 something or other C3. It is only a few years old. Bought it a little while after changing the pump in my last Maytag, and we got a problem. So start with a little story. I don't know if anybody's as old as I am and remembers the old Maytag TV commercials where they had the old dude sitting there on a chair with his feet up complaining that he was so lonely. The old lonely Maytag technician. Well, apparently he died of boredom from the old machines, and they didn't want to have those kind of lawsuit liability, so their techs aren't bored these days. Because what we've been having happen is in the middle of a run, it'll make a terrible, sad sounding noise, and you'll get an LF on this, LF, which is low flow. And I tried to make it do it a few times, and I couldn't ever get it on camera. But it really went nuts about 2 weeks ago, and then I finally gave up, and I spent about $5 online, downloaded ye olde factory service manual for the technician use only, and I was able to figure out what is gone wrong. So the first thing you got to do if you're going to work on one of these things is, to me, pull it out. And then you take the hoses off, and then I'm going to go through, show you how you get this piece off. Because it's not necessarily the simplest thing in the world unless you have this special tool. So, here we go. All right. Squeeze. Once you get here, you don't want to unplug it. No reason to get zapped. Turn off your water. No reason to get wet. You can see somebody's been here before, because I took this apart last week when I was working on it to figure out what was broken. Okay, so normally this piece is over here, but I forgot to put it back on before I put the water lines back on. So the first thing after you do this is you got to pull the water lines off. Back in a minute. Now these water lines have a rubber gasket in there, as you can see. Do not lose that, or it will not seal, and you will make a mess. So then, once you have your water lines off, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws, and then this pulls up and out. And then the fun part, because there are no obvious ways to get that off. What there is, on each side, you kind of see this whoop-de-doo here. There's a spring clip in there that you have to push in and then lift up on it. And once those are loose, I forgot a fastener. I don't think I did. Yep, and it just pulls forward. And you're out, because it clips in here. There's your spring clip, there's your rear clip, spring clip. So you're pushing on this spring clip with the knife to get it loose. And here is the workings of this thing. So what I'm going to do now is show you how to put it in test mode and test this thing. Because here's your water inlet, cold, hot. There are actually two separate solenoids for cold and for hot on this thing. And they all do different things. You got your mains, and then I think you've got softener, or oxy and softener, depending on which one it is. The hot runs on one and the oxy runs on the other, and you got your mains. So let's take a look at what we got here. Alright, so to put it in factory service mode, I plugged it back in. It says, needs to be in standby mode, plugged in with all indicators off, which is what we have. Select any 3 buttons except power, and follow the steps below using the same buttons. Remember the buttons in the order they were pressed. So within 8 seconds, press the first and release. Press the second and release, press the third and release. Repeat this 3-button sequence 2 more times. And now she's in service mode. So, alright, so you push the second button that you pushed to get into the service mode. You can actually use the temperature and the soil level buttons to punch through the tests. So 000 is the lid lock. Locked, unlocked. 1 is the cold valve. It works. 2 is a hot valve. Hear the difference? And you can actually hook up your water lines if you'd like and test that. 3 and 4 are not relevant in this model. 5 is the fabric softener valve, which is the cold side. Works. 6 is the oxy valve, which is the hot side. Works. So what it turned out to be on this machine was the main hot valve over here was not functioning. And I beat on it with a hammer, of course, unplugged it, plugged it in, and it did not function. Get out of service mode. So what I have done is procured a W11165546 washer water inlet valve made in China. From Amazon for about $38. I'm not sure if it's exactly the factory unit, but it looks pretty damn close. It's certainly a lot cheaper than ones that you might get at Repair Clinic for $120. But we're going to now disconnect the old one, pull this, swap this over, and run a test. So these wires were really tight the last time. They're a little less snug now, because we broke them in. Okay, so that's all off, and there's actually a plug way down under there. But you've got 2 little tiny screws that are holding this in. And it's just rock it a little bit, comes up. And this guy, trying to remember how that came off. I think you got to pry that little black thing out of there, and then the plug pops out. So we're going to do that right now. Yep, that's all it was. Just push that little black piece back, and the wire comes off, and your valve comes out. Not much to it. Look pretty similar. May have even been molded on the same line. We will see. This one does not have as many markings on it or the barcode that the old one did. But we're going to sneak this guy under here. Try not to drop it. Plug this guy in. Then this gets set down, pushed in. We can put our screws back in. And now plug in the solenoids. I probably should have unplugged this just for grins, but I forgot. There. Now we're going to put this back together, which this piece goes on. Those little hooks go into these back slots like that. And then you just push it down till it latches. And we're going to put our rear piece back on, which goes underneath whatever that thing is. There she goes. Get that put back together. And then we will hook the water lines back up and give it a test to show you how all the water valves work. Jeez. Sometimes it takes a little while to kick the thing in. Just keep picking. Alright, so you push the second button that you pushed to get into the service mode. Phew. Alright, so now we can run the tests. Again, we'll just check the lock. Yep, it works. Now we're going to go to the cold valve. Actually, this, what do we got here? One cold valve. We got water flowing. Okay? Hot valve, and this is where it would not flow before. And we have water flowing. So what would happen is when you were trying to do a hot load of laundry, it would only call from the hot valve, it wouldn't get any water out of it, and it would get a low flow cycle and kill the whole thing. When I ran it on cold, it worked perfectly. So now we'll test the other ones. 3 and 4 don't matter on this machine. Detergent valve, fabric softener valve, which is the other side. Works like a champ. And the oxy valve, which all works. Check on our hot water valve again. Cold water. And to get out of this mode, hit the power button. Phew. Alright, so if you're getting a low flow or having some difficulty with your Maytag washer, and you don't want to call the board repairman, who isn't probably so bored anymore, could be this little thing. If you get in there and you leave it off in this condition and you punch 3 buttons, in a row 8 times, and then you punch the second button. Brings you into that set mode where you can test numbers 1, 2, 5, and 6, which will check those 4 valves without even having to take the thing apart. So at least you can know what may be going on with your machine. So I'll have that valve on my Amazon affiliate if anybody needs this precise part for this machine. It's used fairly frequently in washing machines these days that have the oxy and the fabric softener functions. So if you need that, please feel free to click on over there and purchase it off the Amazon affiliate. Otherwise, everything else is going good over here. I hope you all survived this cold. We got lucky we didn't break any pipes. I know a lot of people are still down and out with the power and water and whatnot related to that. I hope everything gets better for you all real soon. And we will talk to you all later. Take care.